Welcome to Real Paranormal Activity, the network. Entertainment you'll enjoy.
You are listening to an RPA production, where people gather. LaFosse Corporation, LLC.
The world is full of mysteries. It's full of strangeness. And it exists with oddities. That's what we do on this show. We examine the strangeness, the mysterious, the oddities. This is Terry's Mysterious Moments, and I am your presenter, Terry from Texas. This is Season 8. Welcome if it's your first time. Welcome back if you've been here before. Go with us on this trip while we look at cryptids like Bigfoot, the Yeti, the Loch Ness Monster, and maybe even Thunderbirds. Be with us while we examine stories of legends such as werewolves, vampires, witches, ghosts, and hauntings. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the show. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Terry's Mysterious Moments. I am Terry from Texas, your presenter. One of the strangest mysteries, in my opinion, in modern times has got to be the phenomenon known as crop circles. Those odd, unusual, and sometimes interesting formations appearing like magic in fields in many places across the globe. But a question begs the asking: where do they come from? Who or what makes them? What do they mean? To be honest with you, I don't know. But let's take a look. A crop circle, crop formation, or corn circle is a pattern created by flattening a crop, usually a cereal crop like wheat, barley, or corn. And the term was first coined in the early 1980s. Crop circles have been described as all falling, quote, within the range of the sort of thing done in hoaxes by Tanner Edis, professor of physics at Truman State University. Apparently he doesn't believe in them. Although obscure natural causes or alien origins of crop circles are suggested by fringe theorists, there is no scientific evidence for such explanations, and all crop circles are consistent with human causation. The number of reports of crop circles has substantially increased since the 1970s. There has been scant scientific study of them. Circles in the United Kingdom are not distributed randomly across the landscape, but appear near roads, areas of medium to dense population, and cultural heritage monuments such as Stonehenge or Avebury. In 1991, two hoaxers, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, took credit for having created many circles throughout England after one of their circles was described by an investigator as impossible for human beings to make. Formations are usually created overnight, although some are reported to have appeared during the day. In contrast to crop circles or crop formations, archaeological remains can cause crop marks in the fields in the shapes of circles and squares, but they do not appear overnight, and they are always in the same places every year. Nearly half of all crop circles found in the UK in 2003 were located within a 9.3 mile radius of the Avebury stone circles, which is apparently another very, very, very old stone circle set up like Stonehenge. A 1678 news pamphlet called The Mowing Devil, or Strange News Out of Hertfordshire, is claimed by some crop circle devotees to be the first depiction of a crop circle. Crop circle researcher Jim Schnabel does not consider it to be a historical precedent because it describes the stalks as being cut rather than bent. In 1686, an English naturalist, Robert Plot, reported on rings or arcs of mushrooms in the Natural History of Staffordshire and proposed airflows from the sky as a cause. In 1991, meteorologist Terence Meaden linked this report with modern crop circle claim that has been compared with those made by Eric von Daniken. An 1880 letter to the editor of Nature by amateur scientist John Rand Capron describes how several circles of flattened crops in a field were formed under suspicious circumstances and possibly caused by cyclonic wind action, stating, as viewed from a distance, circular spots, they all presented much the same character, viz. A few standing stalks in the center, some prostrate stalks with their heads arranged pretty evenly in a direction forming a circle around the center, and outside there's a circular wall of stalks which had not suffered. Moving up into the 20th century, in 1932, archaeologist E.C. Kerwin observed 4 dark rings in a field in Staunton Down near Chichester, but could examine only one, a circle in which the barley was lodged or beaten down, while the interior area was very slightly mounded up. In 1963, Patrick Moore described a crater in a potato field in Wiltshire that he considered was probably caused by an unknown meteoric body. In nearby wheat fields, there were several circular and elliptical areas where the wheat had been flattened. There was evidence of spiral flattening, and he thought they could be caused by air currents from the impact, since they led toward the center. Astronomer Hugh Ernest Butler observed similar craters and said they were most likely caused by lightning strikes. During the 1960s, there were many reports of UFO sightings and circular formations in swamp reeds and sugarcane fields in Tully, Queensland, Australia, and in Canada. For example, on August 8, 1967, 3 circles were found in a field in Duhamel, Alberta, Canada. Department of Natural Defense investigators concluded that it was artificial, but couldn't say who made them or how. The most famous case is the 1966 Tully saucer nest, when a farmer said he witnessed a saucer-shaped craft rise 30 or 40 feet from a swamp and then fly away. On investigating, he found a nearly circular area 32 feet long by 25 feet wide where the grass was flattened in clockwise curves to the water level within the circle, and the reeds had been uprooted from the mud. The local police officer, the Royal Australian Air Force, and the University of Queensland concluded that it was most probably caused by natural causes, like a downdraft, a willy-willy, which is what they call a dust devil in Australia, or a waterspout. In 1973, G.J. Odgers, Director of Public Relations, Department of Defense, Air Office wrote to a journalist that the saucer was probably debris lifted by the causing Willy Willy. British pranksters Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley say they started creating crop circles in British cornfields in 1978, inspired by the Tully saucer nest case. The first film to depict a geometric crop circle, in this case created by superintelligent ants, is the 1974 science fiction film Phase 4, which is a pretty freaky film. The film has been cited as a possible inspiration or influence on the pranksters who started the phenomenon. Since the 1960s, there has been a surge of ufologists in Wiltshire. There were rumors of saucer nests appearing in the area, but they were never photographed. There are other pre-1970 reports of circular formations, especially in Australia and Canada, and they were always simple circles, which could have been caused by whirlwinds. In the magazine 40 in Times, David Wood reported that in 1940 he had already made crop circles near Gloucestershire using ropes. In 1997, the Oxford English Dictionary recorded the earliest usage of the term crop circles in a 1988 issue of Journal of Meteorology, referring to a BBC film. The coining of the term crop circles is attributed to Colin Andrews in the late 1970s or early 1980s. The majority of reports of crop circles have appeared and spread since the late 1970s, as many circles began appearing throughout the English countryside. This phenomenon became widely known in the late 1980s after the media started to report crop circles in Hampshire and Wiltshire. After Bowers and Chorley's 1991 statement that they were responsible for many of them, circles started appearing all over the world. To date, 10,000 crop circles or more have been reported internationally from locations such as the former Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, Japan, the US, and Canada. Skeptics note a correlation between crop circles, recent media coverage, and the absence of fencing and/or anti-trespassing legislation. Although farmers express concern at the damage caused to their crops, local response to the appearances of crop circles was often enthusiastic, with locals taking advantage of the increase of tourism and visits from scientists, crop circle researchers, and individuals seeking spiritual experiences. The market for crop circle interest consequently generated bus or helicopter tours of circle sites, walking tours, t-shirts, and book sales. Since the start of the 21st century, crop formations have increased in size and complexity, with some featuring as many as 2,000 different shapes, and some incorporating complex mathematical and scientific characteristics. The researcher Jeremy Northcote found that crop circles in the UK in 2002 were not spread randomly across the landscape, as I said before. They tended to appear near roads and areas of medium to dense population and cultural heritage monuments such as Stonehenge or Avebury. He found that they always appeared in areas that were easy to access. Now, this suggests strongly that these crop circles were more likely to be caused by intentional human action than by paranormal activity. Another strong indication of that theory was that inhabitants of the zone with the most circles had a historical tendency for making large-scale formations, including stone circles such as Stonehenge, earthen mounds such as Silbury Hill, long barrows such as West Kennet, Long Barrow, and white horses in Chalk Hills. In 1991, our two self-professed pranksters, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, made headlines by claiming that it was they who started the phenomenon in 1978 with the use of simple tools consisting of a plank of wood, rope, and a baseball cap fitted with a loop of wire to help them walk in straight lines. To prove their case, they made a circle in front of journalists. A seriologist, who is an advocate of paranormal explanations of crop circles, Pat Delgado, examined the circle and declared it as authentic before it was revealed that it was a hoax. Inspired by Australian crop circle accounts from 1966, Bauer and Chorley claimed to be responsible for all circles made prior to 1987, and for more than 200 crop circles in 1978 to 1991, with 1,000 other circles not being made by them. Writing in Physics World, Richard Taylor of the University of Oregon said that the pictographs they created inspired a second wave of crop artists. Far from fizzling out, crop circles had evolved into an international phenomenon, with hundreds of sophisticated pictographs now appearing annually around the globe. After reports of simple circles in the 1970s, increasingly complex geometric designs have been created by anonymous artists, in some cases to attract tourists to an area. Since the early 1990s, the UK arts collective Circle Makers, founded by Rod Dickinson and John Lundberg, and subsequently including Will Russell and Rob Irvin, has been creating crop circles in the UK and around the world as part of its art practice and also for commercial clients. Interesting note, the Led Zeppelin box set that was released on September 7th of 1990, along with the remasters of the first box set, as well as the second box set, all feature an image of a crop circle that appeared in the East Field in Alton Barns in Wiltshire. On the night of 11-12 July 1992, a crop circle making competition with the prize of about £3,000, funded in part by the Arthur Kessler Foundation, was held in Berkshire. The winning entry was produced by 3 Westland Helicopters engineers using rope, PVC pipe, a plank, string, a telescopic device, and 2 stepladders. According to Rupert Sheldrake, the competition was organized by him and John Mitchell and co-sponsored by The Guardian and the Seriologists. The prize money came from PM, a German magazine. Sheldrake wrote that the experiment was conclusive. Humans could indeed make all the features of state-of-the-art crop circles at that time. 11 of the 12 teams made more or less impressive formations then followed the set design. What do you think about crop circles? Do we think they're real? I mean, they're obviously real, they're there. But again, let's ask those 3 questions. Who makes them? I think it's somebody out to do an artwork and sell it, or it's a bunch of college buddies who get drunk on Saturday night and find they have no dates and have to have something to do, or somebody like these 2 old men that decided to go out and just pull the wool over everybody's eyes. Do I think aliens have anything to do with it? Not really. I watched a video one time of a crop circle, although very small one, being produced right off of a roadside. And what it was a dirt devil, a spinning column of air, and it whirled right by the road And when it was done, there was a little crop circle there. So it could very possibly have it could be very possibly a natural thing that weather, maybe even earth magnetics, lightning, things like that might be able to do, other than someone actually getting in the field and doing it themselves. I think crop circles are very interesting, but when they're getting into the more complex ones, it's getting a little weird. Here's one that I really liked. A 7-acre crop circle depicting the emblem of the Star Wars Rebel Alliance was created in California in December of 2017 by a father and his 11-year-old son as a spaceport for X-Wing fighters. Now that's fandom. There are other crop circles featuring the Olympic rings, and there's quite a lot of them. There have been people arrested for creating crop circles because they got onto somebody's property. They were charged with damage, but they found out that most of the damage came from people rushing to see the crop circle, so they got let off. Crop circles are very interesting. I find it interesting that a lot of them happen in England. I don't obviously know of too many that happen here in the United States, although they say they do. So, what do you think about crop circles? Man-made, hoaxes, natural made by weather? What do you think? Let me know. Well, that's my show for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this little study on crop circles. I find them interesting. I don't think ET's out there walking around in the middle of a field at night. But crop circles do exist. They appear in fields. I don't know how. I don't know why. And most of the time, I don't know who. Not that it matters, because I like a little mystery in things. Well, hey, folks, thanks for stopping by and listening for this show. Be back next time, I hope, with more Terry's Mysterious Moments. Y'all have a good week now. Bye.